Fallout New Vegas is my favorite modern Fallout game, but I haven't played the game since I was back in high school on my Xbox 360. And back then, I was running around with a big iron on my hip, playing Wasteland Cowboy. As such, I never really thought to try and do a melee or an unarmed build in Fallout, as I was having way too much fun with all the rootin' and the tootin'. And so after seeing one of the fist weapons that you can get in the game, I decided to pull the trigger on this challenge run and try to beat the game using only unarmed. Now, a couple of things here. There are two parts in this run where you have to use a gun to remove obstacles, and for those parts, they are allowed, but only those two specific guns in two specific instances. But normally I can't deal any damage to enemies with anything other than my fists or fist weapons. Essentially, guns for progression are fine, but not for combat. This video was made from clips taken from past Twitch Vods, as well as non-streamed recording sessions in order to get the run out and not take ages. So if you do want to come and hang out and see some of these runs done live, then head on over and check out the Twitch. Now, with all of that out of the way, I'll let Past Me take over here and just explain to you everything we are aiming for with this challenge while we're in character creation. Over to you, Benny. Ooh. Okay, so since we got a pause, since we have a pause point here, we're not going to name the character yet. First, I'm going to pull up the notes. I'm going to explain what I'm looking for in this build, because I've made a mock-up of the character build. I don't know if it's going to go exactly the way I have it wrote up, but the things we're looking for in this unarmed build is we want to focus on critical hits. We want to have high damage resistance. We want to have bonus damage dealt to enemies in any way we can get it. And we also need a lot of movement speed. We need to close the distance quick. Everybody, like I said, everybody in this game has explosives, guns, and if they don't have those, then they have melee weapons, which we also do not get. We only have fists and fist weapons. There are a couple of perks. We have, like, I'm looking at Bloody Mess. I'm looking at the toughness perks for, like, I think toughness gives HP or damage reduction. Is one or the other. I'm going to have to check when we get there, but we're looking at things that lower damage, up movement speed, and deal more damage in crits. That is our ticket to success here. We also need to use the Wild Wasteland trait, because we need the goofy stuff for this build to actually make sense eventually. So, starting out on day one, we end up naming our character Kenny Fitzgerald. Get used to that name, we're here, it's sticking around. We end up making our guy, look at him, look at the guy, look at the boy, he's there, that's who we are. And then we end up moving into picking our special stats, in which we dumped all of our points into endurance and luck, and made charisma our dump stat. For tag skills, we ended up taking survival, repair, and unarmed for this build. We'll get into why a little bit later, but for now, just know that that's what we're taking. And then finally, our traits, other than Wild Wasteland, which is also required for this build, we took Built to Destroy, which increases our critical hit chance with weapons at the cost of their condition decay being higher.
Can do.
So first things first, after we leave Doc Mitchell's, we head over to Chet's shop in Good Springs to sell all of the equipment that we are just not going to need. Then, just to get a feel for how things might go for us, we head over to the school, and we end up punching the lights out of a lot of mantises to see what our fists are capable of this early on. After that, we head over to test our luck against some nearby powder gangers after just leaving Good Springs, and honestly, I was a little worried for not a whole lot of issues here. I thought like we were gonna be really starving for damage output this early on, but it looks like we're fine. So we're just gonna move on.
Wait.
Enemies that run away from you, though, and the fact that every enemy is pretty much gonna have guns and explosives, is gonna be a bit of an issue trying to close the distance to, you know, actually fight them. But we'll cross those bridges when we get to them. It's on our way down to Prim, however, where we encounter our first couple of bugs.
We'll just use... Oh no, hold on. Did Vods clip me into the terrain? Oh no! Get some blocks in here, come on. Hold on, did he heal? Hold on, why are you not taking damage anymore? Do you take damage? Yeah, you take damage.
And so, after almost no clipping ourselves into the Mojave's back rooms and also dealing with an invincible powder ganger, we end up leveling up thanks to the help of the nearby NCR soldiers, and we end up taking the Hunter perk for additional damage against animals and mutated animals. Shortly after that, we ended up making our way into the Bison Steve Casino, and we end up face-tanking our way through all of the escaped convicts that are inside here before rescuing Deputy Beagle and setting him free, cleaning up the entire mess that he got himself into here.
Get out of here, Deputy Beagle. I'll clean up your mess.
And so, still not having found any fist weapon that I want to use, I thought I remembered there being one at the highway patrol station nearby. And so after a long, drawn-out fight with the gang leader, we check inside and nothing. We then grab the quick travel point for the Mojave outpost before making our way down to Nipton.
How many are there? Oh, there's a lot more than I thought there was. Oh, there's a lot more than I thought there was. I thought there was like 3.
But not no more. Powder Gang is small time, man. I'm a winner. I won the motherfucking lottery.
Oh, Oliver ain't lucky anymore. Oliver's not so lucky. Take his lottery ticket.
And after seeing what the Legion has done to the town of Nipton and what happened to Oliver, we quickly grabbed the Mojave Drive-In quick travel point. But something still wasn't sitting right with me, so we went back to the highway patrol station.
No, not that. I'll take the star bottle cap. Literally right beside him. Brass knuckles, we can actually do damage now. Wow, we are actually viable. Now we need to go find somebody to punch. Alright, here we go. Oh, I like the way that damage looks. Oh. Ooh.
And so after guffawing over our new damage output with our brass knuckies, we made our way over to the Powder Gangers prison camp, and things happened.
Okay, apparently those aren't ripe enough. Okay, alright. Okay. Somebody exploded over here? Okay, so problem is, for some reason, Myers was aggroed to us. And, Myers no longer exists. So...
After this, we leveled up to level 4, and we ended up taking the Educated perk for a couple of extra skill points per level. Then we went all the way back to the NCR outpost to let them know about the Legion's goings-ons in Nipton.
All right.
And finally, we closed out the day with heading all the way back to Good Springs and selling everything we've picked up pretty much back to Chet.
Pistol, more dynamite, a single shotgun, and a double shotgun.
And getting back to our adventure, we were wandering our way around on our way to Novak for a bit while dealing with some Viper gunslinger ambushes and maybe dying once or twice to a grenade onslaught.
Oh my god. Okay, if the explosion didn't happen, we would have been fine.
By using VATS to kind of help us close the distance between some enemies every now and then, as well as them blowing their own people up, we ended up getting through this area, I think with only 2 deaths in the whole time. Shortly thereafter, we found Ranger Station Charlie and talked to Comm Officer Stepanak before making our way back out into the waste and dealing with a nearby roving patrol of Legionnaires. once they were taken care of, we just continued our walk all the way into Novak to the dinosaur shop, where, talking to Cliff at the gift shop, we snagged ourselves a fancy little GRA Power Fist. The next day, we work on getting Boone as a companion for us. And it turns out somebody in Novak sold his wife to the Legion for money. And he wants revenge. And he wants us to find out who did it. So we put on our super sleuth hats. We go and we pickpocket Jeannie Mae, use the pickpocketed key on her safe, grab the bill of sale from the safe, all while she's at her desk, and then tell her that we have something really cool to show her in front of the dinosaur statue, and that she needs to come with us after we wait for about 12 hours. After all that, we head out in front of the dinosaur statue, and Jeannie Mae has an unfortunate accident that removes the upper portion of her body from her body. And Boone becomes our friend. And so after making friends with Boone, we've reached level 5, and also we got Boone's cap, which gives us a bonus to perception and bonus to crit chance, as long as we wear it, which is pretty nice. After that, we make our way on up to the Repcon launch facilities, testing out our new Power Fist and new companion along the way. And they do damage.
All clear.
We then met with Chris and Jason, and we agreed to help the ghouls in their mission to reach the great beyond, or the far beyond. And in doing so, first things first, we have to take care of some Nightkin down in the basement, which was a little bit of the first real challenge we've had since getting our upgrade, which kind of put me on my toes a little tiny bit. Not much, but a bit. The GRA fist really kind of like carried this through a lot.
Oh, that's not a lot. That's not a lot, dude. That's not a lot, dude. That's not a lot, dude. But the 4 uppercuts might work. Especially with crits. Let's go! Good job, Boone. Ooh, we could sell that. I think we do a melee run next. I think we do melee weapons next. And explore what that can do. So far, the fist run has been so much fun. After we found a fist weapon. Okay, but yeah, the Nightkin. I was really worried about them. They put up a fight. Like, they were actually damaging us. Our biggest worry is explosives and heavy physical fighters. Well, basically anything heavy weapon related.
Get it, you big dumb. Hey, you're not one of those things out there.
I'm not even kidding. I've never seen this person.
And after dealing with the Nightkin, we needed to grab some igniting agent nearby, deal with some Legion assassins.
Okay, we may have made the Legion a little bit angry.
And then grab the thrust control modules from Old Lady Gibson before we could finish the Repcon questline. And after all was said and done, there was only one thing left to do. Send off the boys into the great far beyond of the night sky.
Bon voyage, boys. Happy trails.
And so, after sending off Jason Bright and his followers, the Repcon quest line was all done now. And so Boone and I headed on down to Nelson, where we cleared the Legion camp there, and also spent a little bit of time freeing and uncrucifying the NCR soldiers nearby. There wasn't much else that happened the remainder of this day, so pretty much all we did was just get to the Hoover Dam and get the fast travel unlocked for it. We ended up going all the way back to Good Springs and decided to test our new strength level with Boone and the Power Fist against Cazadors and Cazador Canyon, because I thought that was a good idea for some reason. And then we made our way down to Bonnie Springs, where we took out the set of Raiders of Bonnie Springs after 2 attempts and managed to find the Love and Hate Knuckles, which, not gonna lie, really, really good weapon. Along this way, we also took 2 ranks into the toughness perk, where we got to rank 2 in the toughness perk, and that just added to our overall damage threshold and damage reduction, our defensive capabilities, which made us more tankier than we already were, which is kind of the whole theme of this build, is being able to just take all the hits possible and take things out insanely quickly with the damage we can put out. Lastly, we did meet up with the great Khans, and we found our drug dealer boy Jack and his girlfriend Diane,
the guy.
who would give us a special move later on, but we have to level up some skills first. Moving on. Day 6 was a pretty big day for us. We finally made it all the way to New Vegas and found Dr. Usanagi's medical clinic, where we will be coming back to get a hold of some implants once we acquire enough money later on.
That's what I like to hear.
While running around, we then decided to venture all the way up to Jacobstown and get that quest line progressing for some XP and loot to sell off again for those implants later on.
Boone, you keeping up? Good. Awesome. Sweet. You liking your little spacesuit? Wait, can I give him...
Fine by me.
Oh, I already did give him that. Okay, let's take his beret from him real quick.
I'd really like my beret back, please.
I'm sure you do, buddy. But I want to see you run around in that little get-up for a bit. Let's go, spaceman.
And once we were there, we met with Marcus, Lily, the Nightkin, and the doctor who is currently working on a cure for the Nightkin's schizophrenia. While in Jacobstown, we deal with the mercenaries that are harassing the super mutants, and also we help with the doctor's research, bringing the questline all the way to the end, but leaving it unfinished for now, as we don't have a high enough speech skill to get the good resolution. We also sold everything we got while here and used all of the money to buy both the perception and the strength implants from Dr. Usanagi.
Well, here are the caps, Doc.
Have a seat in the...
Okay, we can deal some damage to it. But they also deal a lot of damage to us, and they do in fact have poison. They do in fact have poison. Okay, good, awesome. Yeah, like I said, Night Stalkers are a bit scary. They're a little more. Honestly, I think they're a little more extreme than Cazadors. Cazadors are really scary, but at least they can't turn invisible.
All right, let me do a quick... All right, you're healthy enough to handle...
We need the strength implant, please, Doc.
I can implant the hypertrophy accelerator for 4,000 caps. It will boost your adrenal glands and...
Day 7 had some more big moments for us on our journey. First, since we still need money for our last implant, and we also need XP, I decided to go back to Black Mountain and clear out the super mutants there, which, in hindsight, feels a little wrong as we tried to help Jacobstown and Marcus, but hey, I mean, J-Town supremacy in this wasteland. I mean, Operation Black Mountain Down goes off without too much trouble here. Except, we can't get Tabitha to spawn because we don't have a high enough repair skill to repair her robot in the storage room. So there's that. We don't get that big experience bump just yet. And after finishing up at Black Mountain and selling everything that we picked up here, we bought our final implant to boost agility, and with our spare caps, we entered the strip and met with Mr. House at the Lucky 38 Casino.
This meeting has been a long time coming, hasn't it?
So day 8 was a productive one, but it was a bit of a repetitive one, because all I did on day 8 was focus on the Jack and Diane quest line, which it's a lot of fetch quests. But we did it in order to get the con trick unarmed attack before we went and heading off to start the Old World Blues DLC. Just because I didn't want to make that wait until after I wanted to get it before, since we were already right there and were primed for it. So that's pretty much all we did on day 8.
Welcome to the Big Empty. Oh, baby, we're back. Oh, baby, we're back.
Day 9 and we're back. Old World Blues is probably my favorite Fallout DLC. But keep in mind, I haven't played any of Fallout 4's DLCs. So, getting down to it, we spent day 9 meeting with the think tank, and then gathering up all of the sync personalities around a big mountain. We also ended up having a run-in with a rogue Securitron while we were trying to rest, and it really did not go well.
I don't know if he can heal, so I need him to keep aggro.
Down in Higgs Village, we also tested our limits here after our embarrassing run-in with the Securitron by playing a bit of tag with Stripe until he decided he was a little too tired to keep going. And while out exploring the Big Empty, we leveled up and took the Purifier perk, which gives us increased damage against abominations. You know, think Deathclaws, Super Mutants, Night Stalkers, and so on. We also kept our eyes out for any Saturnite Fists, which is another fist weapon, because aside from the DLC perks that we get from the start, being Brainless, Spineless, and Heartless, the superheated Saturnite Fist in a new shop are really the only reasons we wanted access to Big Mountain. On day 10, I knocked out the first few X8 trials and ended up finding not 1, but 2 Saturnite Fists while going through them. I ended up leveling up to 16 and took the Better Criticals perk to further increase our damage. And to close out the day, once we got back to the sink, we turned our attention to our best friend Toaster, who we got to turn us into a super hot double fisting machine. On day 11, I finished all of the auxiliary X8 trials and then went on to the X13 site to obtain everyone's favorite companion, the stealth suit. I know. Go on. Go ahead. You know you want to. Leave a comment down below. Who do you think is cuter, Dr. Klein or Dr. Boros? But anyways, just because we were flying through the DLC with ease, I then went on to grab all of the secondary personality matrices and made a few spare superheated fists, just in case our current stock degrades later. After that, we just prepped for the end of the DLC by running around to all the facilities and using science stations to create free stim packs. Ending day 11, we hit level 20, and we took the Stonewall and Super Slam perks over the course of the last couple of levels.
Time to fight.
On day 12, we began the ending slog of Old World Blues. We started by destroying Mobius's giant Robo-Scorpion. We then talked to Mobius and used all of his skill checks to get more XP before talking to our brain and setting up a game plan on how to stop the think tank. But I wanted to get the good ending. So, by using a lot of drugs, wearing a convincing Dr. Scientist suit, and by avoiding making any eye contact with Dr. Klein until after I had talked to and solved the other brain's problems, we convinced the think tank to work for us. And we got the good ending of Old World Blues. Day 13 was a lot. First, on returning to the Mojave, I went back to the Black Mountain and fixed up Rhonda, which caused Tabitha to spawn and thank us for repairing her friend, this giving us a large chunk of experience. After that, we broke into the holding cell where Tabitha was keeping a ghoul prisoner, and we found out that Danny Trejo was being held here to repair things for Tabitha. And since he has nowhere better to be, we dragged Danny along with us back to the Lucky 38. Once we dropped Danny off at the penthouse, it's time to walk the divide. So, okay. Here's a good place, I think, to talk about some things. First off, if you're enjoying the video, hit that like button and that subscribe button while we're just here chilling. Second, I don't think that the Lonesome Road DLC is bad. I definitely think it has some holes in its plot, but I don't think it's bad. The marked men are cool, the Eddie conundrum and repetition of history is a cool subversion, Ulysses is a very good corpse husband cosplayer. I get the appeal of Lonesome Road. But this DLC caused me so much stress during this challenge run, because for some reason it was just the most unstable thing in the world and crashed so much. I have a section where you will see that specifically in here for a reason, but good God, did I just want this DLC to end not long after starting. So we're going to speed through a lot of Lonesome Road, and then we're just going to hit some of the big points and really just the major thing that I came to this DLC to get for this build.
What? Wait, hold on. What happened? I didn't know that was gonna launch.
We launch a nuke, take a leisurely ride on an elevator, and fight our way all the way through to the hotel roofs near the end of the divide, where Ulysses stops us and takes control of Eddie, our robo-companion. And we find in this area the entrance into Rar's lair. Rar is a very large and very scary deathclaw that we need to take down. Now, I'm constantly forgetting just how strong we are at this point, and also not being the most familiar with this DLC, I wasn't taking any chances here, and we just dropped some major drugs before fighting him.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Okay, hold on. Rar, we gotta take a pause for a second while you're flying through the air. We're going to... Hold on, could you pause buffer that for that? Okay. Alright, we need Slasher. We need some Med-X. We need some Nuka-Cola Victory. We need some Rebound. We need some Slasher. And that's about the best we got. All of the drugs, we have buff out, and buff out. All the drugs. Will this be enough? Cross, uppercut, cross, uppercut, cross, uppercut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 VAT shots. Can we do it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. And we got it. Rar's Talon. Its claws larger and more impressive than those of lesser death claws. You might be able to turn it into a weapon if you find a workbench. Where's it at? There it is, our final weapon. Fist of the North Rar. Oh, really? It only takes the Talon? Bonus critical chance, bonus critical damage, bonus limb damage, damage of 59, DPS of 168. The build is almost done. I made my way into Ulysses' bunker, which, again, they didn't really miss a whole lot. I just had one little short encounter and then got blown up by a couple of bombs, but I completely forgot that I wasn't recording. So I was talking about some stuff, and I don't remember what all they were now. So that's a thing that happens. Anyways, we just hit level 28 when we entered the bunker. Gives us a 10% faster run speed. I think we'll just take Living Anatomy.
So we enter Ulysses' bunker, we reactivate Eddie, and we confront Ulysses in one of my favorite arena set pieces in games. The walk up as the bunker comes to life and the missile rises is just great. And then we talk to Ulysses. Now, I was wanting to get as many good endings as I could for each thing, but this DLC had other plans in mind for us. We get through all of the dialogue here and then team up with Ulysses before the crashing issue hits us again with 100% of its force, way worse than it has up to this point. The game just does not want us to finish it. Just watch.
East and west.
Oh, come on. Are you serious? A crash right there?
You have spoken.
Bro, why does that crash right there? Am I fucking locked out of this ending? What is happening, dude? Bro. Okay, after some quick Google searches and checking of files, I have found one possible thing. Just turn all the saves off. People have sworn up and down this fixes the issue. We're gonna find out. Because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be very upset. And we just might reload a save prior to going in here to confront Ulysses, and then we'll just skip the Lonesome Road DLC, which... yeah. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. Oh my god, bro. I was hoping to get the good ending! Alright, let's do the confrontation one more time and see if maybe it's a script error. I don't know. There it is. Okay. God, I love Fallout New Vegas, but good God, I hate how unstable it is. Alright, I'm gonna try and figure out a workaround and then we'll move on. Alright, so troubleshooting step number 95,000X TAC 53 Tango. Some people have said there's been a known bug with this specific DLC where if you have a last save going into a new area essentially, or a new save, or an auto save going into a new area or a new story beat, has the potential to crash the game if the auto save is the only last one. The quick save I don't think counts because we quick saved, so I'm gonna go and load the auto save. Then we're gonna manual save over it, delete the auto save, and then try to do it again. Bro! It still did it. Alright, I think it's pretty clear from the visuals that we have seen from these multiple attempts that, we're not gonna die in this encounter. So I'm gonna just mod in the Duster, and we're gonna not do this. Nope. All right, that's it. That was the last chance. I really don't like doing that, but we're doing it. The only thing we have after this is just doing the Yes Man quest line, and we're done. That's it. I'm not throwing the entire run away just because the game decides it doesn't want to fucking run. Ulysses' Duster added. Okay, we just don't get the extra stuff or all the experience points for finishing that out. Yay, awesome. Great game. Thanks, New Vegas. Anyways, we want Ulysses' Duster because it is light armor, which, I mean, we kind of played out of that. It's fine. But it gives an additional crit chance +5 and then boost charisma. So, it looks nice and wastelandy.
So, back in the Mojave, after console commanding in Ulysses' Duster for our troubles, we go and talk to Yes Man and head on down to the Legion's camp to meet with Caesar and Benny, and, well...
Dude, I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna lose it.
So after we recover, we go laugh at Benny, head on down into the bunker to install the Securitron update, and then we duke it out with Benny Boy in the arena, paying him back with a few crotch stomps to send him off to the great beyond. With Benny dealt with and the Securitron update done, we then visit with Mr. House and give him a hand before uploading Yes Man to the Lucky 38 mainframe and viewing the Securitron showcase that he puts on for us. Following our shadow takeover of New Vegas, we met and swapped high fives with the Brotherhood, got blown an invitation to meet with the Boomers, took a peek at what the Omertas and the White Glove Society were up to on the Strip, and paid a visit to one of the NCR's bunkhouses that was conveniently also a power source for us to use in preparation for the Hoover Dam battle. Lastly, we tied up some loose ends by working on getting the followers of the Apocalypse to join us, and also finishing up the Jacobstown quest line with the good ending. And with all of that out of the way, there was only one final thing left to do.
Let's do it.
It was time to fight the Battle of Hoover Dam and free New Vegas from the encroachment of the Bull and the Bear. Hit the tape.
Don't worry, Raoul. You're with the Fist of North Mojave.
Hoover Dam is pretty much piss easy for us, which is not surprising given everything we've obtained and put our points into with Kenny. And I once again met a boss character who I decided not to pull any punches with in Lanius, and with our boosted VATS-based martial arts, we toppled the legates and we met with the General Oliver and our Securitron army, securing our negotiations for a free and independent Vegas by flinging Oliver from the top of Hoover Dam.
And so the courier who
And that's it.
cheated death in the cemetery
That's
outside
Fallout New
Pittsburgh
Vegas with
cheated
only
death
Unarmed.
once again. And the Mojave Wasteland
Honestly, I was really surprised at just how powerful and broken the character could be when not using anything but Unarmed. I was very convinced before I tried this that guns were just going to, like,
with Mr. House out of
ruin my existence. Because I've never played a melee build in Fallout or a unarmed build at that. But the VATS attack bonus and damage reduction is huge. Also, it allows you to, like, high-speed teleport around the enemies. The perks that we take allow us to ignore armor to a staggering degree. The RAR fist weapon is insanely powerful, and most special fist weapons have increased crit rates and damage to boots. The only real scary part about this is when explosives are introduced and death claws. If we don't overrun them with VATS, that is. I mean, overall, we shrug off gun damage to a high degree, and if you take chems, you practically just become the Terminator of the Mojave. So, I mean, overall, the run was insanely fun, and I think I cleared the DLCs faster with this build than I ever did without any weapon restrictions. So, all in all, I think that this was a good reintroduction to New Vegas after not having played it for many years, and I think I have something special planned for the next video. It's giving big randomizer energy. As always, if you've made it to the end of the video, then thank you very much for watching. It's been a while since I've been able to sit down and work on a run, and I have plenty more on the way. So if you did enjoy the video, subscribe so you can see what else we get up to in Fallout and beyond. Remember to take care of yourselves, and I'll see all of you again
After the courier
soon.
ensured New Vegas remained free, the followers